My name is Charles Collins, and I'm a sustainable gardener. We try to grow with the environment, and especially living in a Sonoran desert, it's kind of rough. A lot of times if people want to garden, they grow in spite of the desert. We chose to grow with the desert instead. In order to do that, we utilize the natural resources that were provided. We have a nice arid climate. We have a beautiful bright sky most of the year, so that provides for solar energy. It also provides a great environment for both aquaponics and hydroponics gardening. Usually the homestead wakes up at around 6 a.m. My wife heads off to work at around 4 a.m., so we always have an early start. The daily activities wake up, first letting the dogs out, of course. Then we go outside and we tend to the chickens, we tend to the pigs. We make sure that they have the proper amount of feed. We make sure that they have the water. Lastly, we'll take a look at the plants just to make sure that they're developing up to speed and that nothing bad has occurred overnight. And then we'll check the parameters on our solar power station to make sure that the batteries are all charged up and everything's ready to go. This all started because we had a power issue in our house a little less than 2 years, about a year and a half ago. And it cost an awful lot of money to get the wiring and everything else fixed. Now, a lot of organizations in our beautiful city of Tucson helped us out to get things right. But the fear with me was we had fish, we had plants, and they relied on a steady power source. If not, they could just die. And just having that fear in my heart for about a month really set my mind to thinking, how can I possibly prevent this from ever happening? Easiest result was, especially with me being an astronomer, use the power of the sun. Have yourself a steady power source. In order to do that, you need more than just a steady power source during the day. You're also going to need to be able to conserve that energy during the night. That's where a battery bank comes into play. So we figured out how much power we use during the day. We actually cut that down by changing out all of our original devices with more eco-friendly devices, lower wattage, lower power use, more power that you can save. The idea of being 100% sustainable, especially living in central Tucson, isn't quite a possibility, but you can push it to certain limits. You can. And our idea here is that we don't want to be fully self-sustainable. We want to show people what you're able to do in the desert. Even though you're in a Sonoran desert, you can grow a healthy supply of fish. Even if you're in the Sonoran desert, you can have a healthy worm supply in there. The worms not only provide extra snacks for the fish whenever we want to dig them out, but the chickens kind of like the worms as well. So everything is helping everything else. In a small footprint, you can actually make a change, not just in your household, not just in your life, but to your neighbors as well. A big part is we want to share the concept and the ideas of what you're able to do with the world. That's the biggest part. That's the biggest part. There are all types of little parts of the pieces in this garden back there that they're just our interpretation of what we've seen from other people around the world bring to the world of gardening and self-sustainability. So you always hear me say the phrase, together we grow. Plant that first seed and together we grow. I live by that. From the moment I wake up, I yawn in the morning. I'm planting that first seed so that together we grow. If you live in an apartment, you can do it on your patio. You can always scale anything that you see back there. You can scale it up. You can scale it down. The idea is that you can do it. It's possible. Everyone can do it. Go online, join groups. Heck, follow my page. Man, anything, just get out there and just do it. I'm telling you, once you plant that first seed, and I always say together we grow, but plant that first seed, and when you see that first blade, that first sprout come up, you know that you're actually having a connection with something much greater than yourself. You know, there's a parable in a good book about the faith of a mustard seed. And the idea is, if a mustard seed can just, with no help for anything from any outside force, can come up from the earth, and God takes care of that mustard seed, imagine what he'll do to you if you actually plant that first seed of whatever it is you're trying to attain or achieve in your life, and then you follow through on it. This is small scale, but you're able to do it. You can do it smaller than this. You can do it larger than this. It's scalable up, it's scalable down. The idea is just do it. Don't rely on the big companies. The sun could cause a heat wave or whatever, brown out across your city. You have no power. But we're not without power here. We're not without power. That ability and that sense of just knowing that you're going to be okay. It's not like being a prepper, but it's not bad. We have chickens, we produce eggs. This is all in a backyard in the center of a major city. Are you kidding me? We have pigs. We don't harvest the pigs. We don't eat the pig meat, but they are like my best friends. Before you say, okay, how can you be best friends with a pig? Have you ever hung out with a pig? All right, now hang out with a pig and then come back to me. All right, and we'll discuss it because pigs rock. Also, my pigs don't like Golden State for some reason, not Steph Curry fans. I want to see us rely more on each other. I want to see us become partners with our environment instead of a threat or a harm to it. I want to see us learn these things, go back to the simpler days, go back to simpler ways. Ultimately, my goal was like, you know, as a kid, when I was 5 or 6 years old, I was born and raised in the ghetto. It was kind of rough where I'm from. And we always had, I think we got like 38 or 40 cleared nights a year, so the sky's always gray. You know, it was rough. Raised by a single mom. She raised me and my brothers. I love my mom to death. She fostered my imagination because there wasn't much. If you were to get into anything on the streets, chances are if you grew up with me and you got into the streets, chances are you're either dead or you're locked up and you're not coming home anytime soon. Respect your moms, guys. All right, if you got them, love them. And mine sparked my imagination. And on my father's side, my grandparents had a beautiful, beautiful garden in Maryland, and I always remember that. And on my mom's side, my grandmother and my grandfather, God bless her mama, she had a beautiful little garden, and I used to always love going there and just looking at it and just watching the growth, just monitoring it with my own eyes. You know, being in the hood, we didn't have much for opportunity, so it was all on imagination. And I always wondered what it would be like to live on the moon and to live on Mars. And plus my mom always fostered my imagination with astronomy. She got me my first telescope when I was 8 years old, got me my first my first atlas of the sky when I was 6 years old. And she took me to the library, children's library, when I was like 5.5, 6, and it changed my life. It made me think outside the ghetto. It made me think outside the hood. And I've basically never come back to earth since then. Now, it took a pandemic for me, for all of these feelings to come back up, and for me to be like, you know what, I got time now to actually put some research into this. And plus being an astronomer at the National Observatory, I can actually bring real life applications to what we're doing here. I want people to dream, man. I want them to dream. I want them to know that things like this are possible. And if this is possible, imagine what you're going to be doing 5 years from now. Just imagine. I'm 50 years old and I'm as much a kid as I've ever been, because I get to play with some really awesome toys back here, man. You know, they say, man, this is so boring, I'd rather watch grass grow. Here's the thing, have you ever watched grass grow? It's freaking exhilarating. It's one of the most exciting things, watching a plant open up, either in real time or with the time lapse. It's really incredible. It's incredible. The same place where we come from, the same place we're going to go, you might as well have a relationship with it. And if we have a limited time to do it while we're here on this planet, you might as well make it a good one. I want everyone to know that they can contribute to the planet. I want everyone to know that they can enjoy the benefits of this planet, this beautiful world of ours, without harming it. As I say, together we grow. It's not just we grow together as people, but together we grow with the fish, with the worms, with the chickens, with the pigs, with the plants. Brother, it's an amazing life, man, and it's there for everyone. Whether you have a yard, an estate, acres, or a patio, you can do this. I was so bad when we first started, I couldn't grow old in an old folks' home. I'm not even kidding, man. We were just awful, awful gardeners. So I humbled myself and I joined this group called Tucson Backyard Gardeners. And they literally, like, they took me in like a little kid like 5, 6 years ago, and they literally raised me up through gardening. And so the first thing that we actually successfully grew was basil. Got it from Lowe's, of course, Lowe's or Home Depot, because we were nervous, we were scared. And we got traditional gardening, in-ground gardening. We did that for 2 years. We got pretty decent at that. And then I started looking into hydroponics. Well, hydroponics is a whole different ball game. So once again, I sent out the wave to the universe, or a call to the universe, and we ended up getting a cheap hydroponics rig for $50 off the Facebook market. None of the crap worked on it, but it gave me an idea of how the systems work. Fast forward a month after that, I built my first hydroponic system. Fast forward 6 months after that, we started growing things from seed. Everything you see here, except for the ornamental plants, is all from seed. So like literally, and it's not even that it's just from seed, it's that it's from seed in its second or third generation from seed. So it's tolerant to the weather that we have here. First thing we started off with was wheatgrass. It was wheatgrass and mung beans in a tray. And I still do that just to remind me of the good old days when things were a little bit simpler. The thing is, once we got started, we never stopped. We're always trying to one-up ourselves.
Often called the mushroom of the gods, lion's mane has a long history of medicinal use. This popular nootropic has been shown to enhance focus and increase cognition, helping you feel more productive and accomplished. Research studies have also shown that lion's mane is neuroprotective, giving you peace of mind as you power through your day. Try lion's mane and experience the mental clarity and productivity boost you've been missing.
The world has limited resources, and day by day, we're depleting them. This work is important because not only is it healthy and beneficial for you all the way around, emotionally, spiritually, especially health-wise, but it sustains your environment. You're not taking away, you're actually replenishing the earth. It's so important. This is not, our resources aren't infinite. They're finite, all right? And the more we take away, the more I think we should put back. What if we could put back more than we were taking away from it? What about then? That's got to make a happier world, right? Plant that first seed. Like literally, depending on what you want to do, I would always recommend start with traditional gardening. And when I say that, you don't need a huge plot of land. If you want something that's edible, start with wheatgrass, start with mung beans. All you have to do is change the water in a tray 3 times a day. I mean, a good test if you actually want to garden or not are mung beans and quick sprouting plants. Because if you can't change the water out 3 times a day, maybe gardening is not for you. It's so easy, and it's a super green. It's a super green, it's so healthy for you. If you actually want to do it, and you got that spark in you, just take that first step. Literally take that first step. If you have local grocers, if you have local organic grocers and the farmers markets, go there, ask them what they're doing. You don't have to do it on a large scale. Like I said, not even an estate, not even a huge yard, not even a patio. I just showed you how to do it on a countertop. And you can help your life, you can make your life so much healthier. Instead of going to the grocery store, provide your own greens. You ever see what a bag of microgreens costs? That's like $5 or $7 for a really healthy bag of microgreens. It takes you approximately 12 water changes, 4 days for you to put those seeds in that tray, and then you have your own. And you can constantly just have a tray of super expensive microgreens ready for you whenever you want them. The idea is once you take that first step, don't go back. Just keep moving. Keep going forward. You'll be surprised at what you can do. You'll get healthier. Like I said, man, I'm 50. I'm literally the healthiest I've ever been in my life. I have more energy than I've ever had. I wake up and I look forward to the day because this is what I got to deal with, dude. I planted that first seed 6 years ago, and I'm still growing, man. This movement is bigger than me. I'm just a little tiny part of it, but I want to bring this message to the world. The aquaponics rig that you see back there, we want to build one of those in every low-income neighborhood in the city of Tucson, free of charge. And we want to make sure that it's solar powered because the idea is we shouldn't have to go there. We're not going to have to go there and maintain it. They will maintain it because it's theirs. It'll be a part of them. It'll be a part of who and what they are. These aren't new techniques that we're using here. We're bringing back things that the Aztecs used to do, like I said, thousands and thousands of years ago. We're just new purveyors of that science and that system of growing, and we want to bring it to the new world. We want to show them that you don't have to go to the grocery store and deal with all of the farmed fish that are most likely in bad condition, raised in bad conditions. You can literally have your own supply at your house. That's why I also want to change the world's perspective on tilapia. They're a delicious, beautiful fish, man. And the idea is that they're over-farmed. The majority of fish that we get from grocery stores are all over-farmed in bad conditions. Why don't you eliminate that middleman and do it yourself? I can wake up, go outside, and I hear bubbling waterfalls. I can see beautiful fish. I have delicious vegetables that I can just pluck and just eat. When it comes to the fish, they basically self-control their population, self-population control. So they do make babies in there, but every few weeks or so, if we want to make something for dinner, if the too many big fish in there, we'll actually harvest them, and we can harvest the fish, we'll fillet them, and then we'll store them in the deep freezer. We've started off with 68 fish, and right now there's like anywhere between 70, 80, 100 fish in there. So basically self-sustained. And if you notice when you put the camera in the water, it's not filthy, filthy water, dude. It's not. That's all the process between the fish, the bacteria, and the plants. It's kind of amazing when you think about it. And you look at that and be like, shoot, that's like magic, man. But it's not. It's so simple. It's what happens in the world without us interfering with it. Basically, that's what that is. It's what happens naturally in the world without our interference. The littlest amount of work possible is that. right there. And the bounty that it provides and that it gives us, that it provides for my family and for our neighbors and just for our community, insurmountable, brother. I implore you all to visit Tucson. If you get a chance, come see me. I'm serious. It's not much, but it's ours. It's also yours. I wish I would have started this. And every day I wake up and I'm like, I wish I would have just done this earlier. It's giving me a new perspective on just my life, a new perspective on health. My family's never been closer. Every visitor we've ever had here, they've never left worse than when they walked in. And that's the biggest thing that you can do, that we want to tell people that you can do in your own house. It all starts from here. This whole paradise is nothing. This could just be a yard, but the paradise started in here. So this is actually where the paradise is at. Doesn't matter the size. We can all have our own personal paradise. You want to create an enclosed ecosystem. So in order to do that, you have to have some type of food supply. The food supply for the plants would be the fish waste. Also, the fish that we farm are tilapia, so they also provide a steady source of protein for the family. So it's providing us for food, and it's also providing food for the plants. Now, the fish waste goes through the substrate, which could be lava rock, cocoa core, or clay balls, hydroton. It could be any substrate that you use. The idea is that the bacteria from the nitrates and the nitrites in the fish poop get broken down by bacteria. The bacteria makes their little colonies within your substrate. The substrate then makes that food for the plants. The plants, in return, use their roots to clean out all of the hard and solid waste from the fish waste. It goes through your entire system and gets put right back into the fish tank, fresh and clean. Self-sustaining system. We also apply a population of red wiggler worms, about 1,000 of them in there right now. They've actually grown. We started with 500, but they're actually they're really thriving in there. And they also help break down more of the fish waste. They also provide worm castings, which plant roots actually love. Another added advantage, every 2 months or so, we'll take out about 1/3 of the water out of those tanks, and they create fertilizer for our traditional gardens. So everything that you see here all comes from that one system, and that system is fed by the sun. The solar setup, it pulls from the sun about 4,600 watts a day. That's 4.6 kilowatts. Now the average household uses between 120 to 126 kilowatts a month. So in theory, without really expensive or power sucking devices, that system can actually cover this guest house as well as the garden. When I was on a mountain, when working for Kit Peak, I used to get worried because if we had a brownout or something, my family wouldn't be aware that the pumps went down in the garden. So I always had that fear in my system. I had cameras monitoring it in the whole 9 yards. Having a solar array set up eliminates that worry. Also, if we have a rolling brownout, our family can easily go to our guest house, the office, our casita, and it provides more than enough power. The refrigerator stays running. It just offers you so much of a sense of freedom that you really aren't aware of until you do it. The hydroponics setup uses Master Blend, which is the go-to everything for hydroponics personally to me. I know I'm not endorsed by them, but I promise you the stuff lasts a really long time, and it's a healthy nutrient source for your plants. Now in hydroponics, you don't use fish, but you still use an innate substrate, so clay balls, cocoa coir, or even lava rocks. And instead of fish waste, you're using actual natural minerals from the earth, what the plants are used to eating, to feed them. Now, in our system, we actually bury the reservoir because that keeps it at a nominal temperature between 69 to 74 degrees year-round. Hydroponics grows within the same amount of space as a traditional garden, 3 to 4 times as much food, and it grows it 3 to 4 times faster. Aquaponics, on the other hand, grows about 2 or 3 times as fast as a traditional garden, but you can move out your crops much quicker. Much quicker. So in the average year where your average garden would have, you have a spring or summer garden, we have 4 spring gardens, 4 summer gardens, 4 winter gardens, and 4 fall gardens. My wife grew up with chickens. She's from a farm in upstate New York. I just knew that they were the closest cousins to Tyrannosaurus Rexes, so if I could have a little T-Rex walking around my yard, why not? It's awesome. As soon as we got chickens, my wife automatically went to sustainability. That's where all of this actually started. We went from basil to chickens. And the chickens not only provide us for our protein with eggs, but they also provide us a rich source of nitrogen for the soil, which is in their shells. More so, the chicken waste, we scoop that up, we put it into our composter, and that provides even another source of fertilizer for the soil. We want to amend our entire property. That's what we want to do without having to rip stuff up. We don't want to have to, the idea is not to till, it's to just lift up enough soil so that you can replenish it. We owe it to this land to feed it. And that's also where the pigs come in. Not only are they super cool to hang with, like I said earlier, but pig poop is a tremendous source of fertilizer. It breaks down quick, it breaks down fast, and if you have it, why not use it? I would say that for thousands of years before we even came over here and figured out what was going on, they were very happy doing it. As a matter of fact, 2,000 years ago, Casa Grande, which means the large house, which was actually the kingdom for the river people. All right, there's Tejano Alton, which are the desert people, and there are the river people. And from that river, from the Casa Grande, from the river, the Aztecs and the indigenous people used to have these waterways running for like up to 10 to 15 miles off of the Casa Grande. So and they have it set up so that it would bring just enough water for them to take care of their plants, nothing more, nothing less. There's life in the desert. The desert was fine before us. There's life in the desert. You don't have to change the desert. Grow, be a part of the desert, not in spite of it, but grow with it. You see beautiful green, you see grass on the ground, all right? Granted, that's an ostentatious pool back there. That's really, really big, and it kind of goes against everything we're doing, but before we started gardening, we kind of lived in the desert, and we wanted a pool. So although we have the pool, that's not even the focal point of our property anymore. It's just seeing what you're able to do in the desert. You're not confined to the space and to the walls around you. Think outside the box. Utilize the plant and the animal life around you. At any given time, I'm shocked that hasn't happened. There should be hummingbirds showing up at that feeder right there, because that's what happens. We provide nectar. What else do the hummingbirds do for us in return? Well, when it's early in the morning, you have mosquitoes. When it's at dusk at night, you have mosquitoes. The hummingbirds come through and they clean out all of the mosquitoes every night. So we're growing together with them. When the hummingbirds take off, the bats come in, and the bats clear off the other mosquitoes that are left. You notice you don't see any, like I said, insecticides or spray or anything. It's such a healthy ecosystem that the insects take care of the insects. We don't kill spiders. In a few weeks, we shall have our resident praying mantises come back here, because we get them every single year. Ladybugs, the same thing. We don't kill insects. We grow with the environment. The desert is an absolutely beautiful place to do all of this. If you ever wanted to do solar, why not do it where you get 324 days of sunshine every year? Why not put that to use? Why not let it help you, help your family, and help the earth? I mean, you couldn't chisel the smile off my face, because what's not to love about doing it, man? Start small, don't be intimidated. All right, 2 years ago, I had a 5-gallon fish tank that my wife picked up off the curb. We tested it, like seriously, she found it in a garbage heap on the curb, walking home from work. And we tested it, made sure it didn't have any leaks. It didn't have any leaks. I built my first aquaponics rig with that. I had no idea that was gonna come in the future. But we started small. And I would always say start small, especially with aquaponics, because a small fish tank is much more care intensive than that giant one. It really is. The larger volume of water you have, the easier it is to take care of your tank. So start small. If you can take care of a goldfish, you can do exactly what we're doing back there. If you can grow a basil plant in a cup or in your windowsill, you can do everything that we're doing back there. Don't be intimidated. Think big and think outside of the box. There's always ways that you can do this. Like I said, this isn't even intimidating. There are some rigs that are monsters, man. We try to make it not intimidating, because we want you to see the joy and the fun to it. And mostly, have fun. Have fun. The best part of all of this is absolutely giving back. If it's in the form of seeing smiles on your faces, or seeing smiles on my wife's face when she walks in from work, she grabs some vegetables, she's able to use them to make dinner, or seeing my daughter go out there and just conduct science experiments, seeing everyone get something out of what we're doing here, seeing the smiles and the energy that people get, and the ideas and creativity that they get when they come and visit this little humble space that we have. The idea with all of this is just to give back. We want to give back in every way that we can. I want to have one of these in every single yard in Tucson, because why not? Why not? The idea of sharing is everything. You know, when you leave this world, man, you leave people with memories. And I want them to remember that I never gave up on them. I never wanted them to give up on each other. And that, like, literally, we can make a difference. From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank everyone who helped us with this project, with this dream, from Tucson backyard gardeners to my friends in Phoenix, to my friends in Australia, and my friends all around the world. There literally wouldn't be any of this without you. And most of all, I'd like to thank my amazing wife, Rose. Baby, you believed in me, and guess what? It happened. I love you. Now let's plant that first seed so that together we'll grow.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoy our documentaries as much as we enjoy making them. Unfortunately, many of our videos don't earn enough YouTube revenue to afford the cost of production. But if you like our content, the best thing you can do is directly support it on Patreon. Plus, you'll get access to behind-the-scenes vlogs and commentary. If you're looking for something more in return, go to paragraphic.io where you can buy our other products and services. Alternatively, you can shop our Amazon storefront for our favorite equipment recommendations. Also, check out Boca, where you can find beneficial supplements to optimize your productivity. We especially love the lion's mane and mushroom gummies. And finally, consider signing up to Multitude, a platform built for long-form content, where you and other content creators can share and monetize new videos every week.